What a distinct privilege, honor. I have a few years of longevity. I won't tell you my age. I'll go in decades and not individually. But I wanted to get one thing straight with Dick Blumenthal. He mentioned that those that served in our armed forces to stand. And so when I stood, I saw a lot of you look at me with a blank look saying, was he in World War I or World War II? I want to clear the air. I was in World War II, not World War I. I have a great deal of passion and support and for Darren and Felix, our two running backs. Let me tell you, I watched them practice. You watched them play, but I watched them practice. They practiced if they were just trying to make the team. They had wonderful dedication to their practice. They were unselfish. And I remember a block that Darren made for Felix in one of the games where he knocked the defensive linebacker over and jumped up and shouted as if he had scored a 50-yard touchdown. We are proud of both of those, and we're grateful for the honor that you have given them. Longevity brings about some crazy things, some good and some bad. This last Christmas, I'm there at home, and we're having our Christmas dinner on Christmas Eve, and my son Jack stands up and says, well, I've got an announcement to make. My dad has reached the fourth and final stage of a man's life. Well, they thought I was sick, you know, everybody, what do you mean, Jack? He said, well, the first stage is when a man believes in Santa Claus. The second stage is when he doesn't believe in Santa Claus, but the third stage is when he becomes Santa Claus. But Dad's in the fourth stage, he looks like Santa Claus. I'm in that fourth stage, very, very definitely. I love coaching. I love college football. I have spent my life in it, 61 years when I started coaching at Baylor, many years ago as a 22-year-old rookie, and I've enjoyed every bit of it. But I don't know how I've had the longevity at Arkansas for 50 years because here's the way I started. Let me explain this. I set a record in the first year that's never been broken and never will be broken because it went like this. I started the first game. We made 33 yards against Baylor. They beat us 13-0. I called a staff meeting on Sunday and changed the offense completely. No coach has ever changed his offense completely. I had put in the wing T from Davy Nelson up at Delaware, and we made 33 yards, and I changed the offense. Well, we lost the second game. We lost the third game. We lost the fourth game. And Rice beat us in the fifth game, 24-0. All the four of us was governor, and he was there. And he came in the dressing room, and he said, Frank, your team looked great. I'm proud of you. When I went home, I called my dad and said, I'll be home quicker than you think, Dad. Save me a job in the insurance company. But I've had a wonderful career at the University of Arkansas. It's been a labor of love, something that I wouldn't trade anything for. I went to Arkansas wanting to stay there. Jobs were offered me because we had some success, but I never let my name get mentioned. And people always say to me, well, how have you stayed in the job 50 years? Well, I said, it's hard. There's no question about that. But I did start with a premise that I learned from Vince Lombardi about teamwork and about being positive, and from Bobby Dodd. And I always, as Al mentioned here earlier, I started every speech I've made in Arkansas with, it's a privilege to be a part of the Arkansas program, and I'm grateful for that. And people say, you can't start every speech that way. Yes, I did. I started every speech in Arkansas, and I still do, telling the people what a privilege it is to be a part of the Razorback program. And a little teamwork and a little attitude of gratitude, and you can stay in the job if you're lucky and you got good people, which I did. I want to just tell you a little bit about a great relationship I had with, you all know the name Broyles, who was a great coach at the University of Texas. We competed every year, most of the years, for a championship. And we were close friends. We vacationed together. In the summer, we'd go off and play golf. We'd go down to Cuernavaca, somewhere down in Mexico. We'd play golf, and we just remained friends, even though we were as competitive as we could possibly be. And then when we retired, Bo Schembechler asked us to come to Ann Arbor and lecture at a high school clinic. Darrell and I got on the plane together, and he turned to me. And he said, Frank, he said, I know we've been good friends. We never talk about our game, but I've got to ask you a question. I said, what is it, Darrell? He said, were you stealing our defensive signals in 1971? I said, well, I've got to ask you a question, Darrell. Were you stealing our offensive signals in 1962? He said, yes, and I said, yes. And we went on and had a laugh after that. Darrell and I talked to each other. I'm coming to the conclusion just to tell you how important it is, our friendship. Darrell and I talk to each other about every 2 weeks. We vacation, we play golf together in the summer. We take trips, and we call, and we end every conversation, you know, like, Darrell, it's good to talk to you. I hope everything's going good. How's your wife? Tell her hello. Just a normal thing. But my birthday was December the 26th, and I got a call from Darrell. And it went like this. He said, well, Frank, once again, we were born too soon to make any money. I said, yeah, if we had been born later, we'd made a lot more money than we did when we was up. And so we talked about 15 minutes, and then he got ready to close the conversation, and he said, Frank, I love you. And I said, Darrell, I love you too. Now, we've ended our conversation for 50 years with see you later or something like that. It was the most meaningful thing. It's the most treasured friend that I have, a person that I coached against. He coached against me. We recruited against each other. And yet for 50 years, we are the treasured friend of each other. I'm so proud of that. And I want to just say that in closing that if my life has reflected God's love and God's forgiveness, then I accept this description gratefully. Thank you very much.